Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel to watch other videos as well. So the last update about Taste of Fate. Rhea falsely accused Prachi of having affairs with Siddharth, and Abhi defend Pragya against Tanu. Let's continue. Abhi tells Tanu that he had given her comfort to stay with him and not giving her any right, as the right is just of Pragya. He says, I have many complaints and questions with her, which I will do it myself later. Tanu asks, don't you love me? Abhi says, when did I tell you that I love you? Abhi says, did you ever get a feeling of giving your life for someone or can't live without someone? No. He says you were staying with me as there was no place for you to stay. He says, tell any one thing which makes me fall for you, and says I don't love you and I will never love you in the future too. Shagun says Inspector Saib comes. The inspector comes with the constables and says you are under arrest. Aliyah asks for what? The inspector says he is accused of 6 persons' death. Aliyah says you are blaming the wrong person. Mitali asks if he is talking about that incident when you are beating the guys. The inspector says Mr. Abhi had given orders to break the wall for renovation and 6 people have died as the building collapsed. Aliyah says you cannot blame my brother. Abhi says I did not give order for break of the east side wall. Pragya says I am the company owner and asks how can you blame him? Pragya says if any incident happens there, then I am responsible. He says the contractor who was doing the renovation had warned Abhi that people will lose their lives, but Abhi said that he doesn't care for anyone's lives and he wants the sunlight in the office. Abhi says I did not say this. I asked them to straighten all the walls so that the people staying there don't have any problem. The inspector says this will be decided by the court. Pragya says that the contractor is lying. He cannot do this. The inspector says I have talked to him already. He is not lying, but your husband is lying. He says for your sunlight, you have killed many lives. Pragya says you cannot say this for my husband and says that he cannot do this with anyone. The inspector asks her to let him do his work. Pragya calls the contractor and asks him to tell that her husband haven't given him any orders. The contractor says your husband ordered me to break the wall, even though I warned him. Abhi says I did not ask you and says you are lying. The contractor says the court will decide. You are threatening me. The inspector asks the constable to arrest Abhi. Aliyah says you cannot arrest my brother. Pragya says you cannot arrest him. Abhi says I haven't done anything while he is being taken away by the police. Pragya stands shocked. The contractor Subhash is in Gaurav's office or home. He looks at him. Gaurav comes there and asks the contractor to break the east side wall and let the sunlight comes inside. The contractor says it is not safe and says that just now I told Abhi. Gaurav says you can get 20 years salary at once. The contractor says that the people can die. Gaurav says leave them on their destiny and do as I say. He says I promise that you will not be blamed. The flashback ends. He gives him money and records Pragya slapping him. He thinks your time is gone. Now this is my time and see what I will do with you. Pragya asks Aliyah and Tanu who is involved in this. Aliyah asks who are you to question us and says we can ask you and says my brother went to jail due to you. Tanu says she has the habit to accuse others. Aliyah asks how dare you? How can you think that I can send my brother to jail? Pragya says I am his wife. Tanu interferes. Pragya says he has no relationship with you and says I will not leave anyone harming him. Aliyah asks her to go and save him. Pragya says I will save him. Aliyah says my brother went to your office. Pragya says for whom you works. Aliyah says I don't work for Gaurav. Pragya says Abhi has a doubt that you still work for him. Aliyah says my brother has just doubt and you are blaming me. She says if this would have happened, then my brother would have seen me in his office. Pragya says office. I didn't say this. You have told it yourself. Aliyah says you have said that my brother went to drop me to Gaurav's office. Pragya says I said home and you says office. She says I am sure that you are supporting him. Only Mitali and you both know about the renovation. Tanu says we had gone to meet Gaurav as he wants to take revenge from you, but he cannot do anything wrong with Abhi. Pragya swears to throw them out of Abhi's life. Tanu says you have tried before and got unsuccessful. Pragya says the last time she did not swear, but this time even her destiny will support her. She goes out in a hurry. Mitali asks Aliyah if the family members will be kicked out one by one. Aliyah says shut up. Mitali says I will ask Mommy G and Grandma to stay in Punjab and says our stay will end here. Tanu asks her to see what she will do. Aliyah asks Mitali to leave her alone. She thinks if Pragya is right, that Gaurav has done this, then he shouldn't have brought her brother in this matter. Gaurav plays chess and thinks only he can defeat himself in this game. Pragya is in the car and she calls the lawyer, asking him to get the bail and reach the police station. Gaurav calls Pragya and asks how is she. He says, just now I came to know about your husband's arrest. Pragya says the truth will be your arrest, which will come in the newspaper tomorrow. Gaurav asks, what did I do? Pragya says you will not be safe from my sight now after you tried to harm my husband. Gaurav says, I want to come in my heart and guarantee to get him freed. She ends the call and asks the driver to stop the car. Gaurav hears the doorbell and thinks that she might have come here. He sees someone on the door. The media comes to the police station and questions Abhi for the 6 persons' death. The constable takes them from there. Pragya comes there. Abhi says sorry to Pragya for feeling ashamed in front of the society and the media. Pragya says you don't need to feel ashamed and says let the society and the media come. I will clarify them. Pragya says I have full trust on you and I know that you cannot do anything wrong. He says it is your trust that I cannot do anything wrong. Pragya says I had forgotten these feelings and says when you are hot, I am feeling pain. Abhi says sorry. Pragya says don't say sorry. This feeling is also necessary. Pragya asks him not to think anything and says you look good in our room. I can bear you there, but not here. He asks, shall I break it? Pragya says no need of irogiri. The lawyer is coming and you will get bail. Then you can come with me. He asks her not to cry and says you have lost the dart game and shall obey me for 24 hours. Pragya says we will go home and play another game. He says so that she can win and asks what she wants him to become. Gaurav asks Aliyah what is she doing here. Aliyah says today, a sister has come for her brother and says I had only told you that my brother went for the office renovation. Gaurav says what do you mean? I don't understand. She asks why are you trapping my brother? He says I like you more when you are relaxed. Tanu says you cannot win Aliyah's heart by hurting Abhi. Gaurav says I want to take revenge from Pragya and now she will know who is the real boss. Aliyah says you are targeting my brother to take revenge on Pragya. He says I will get your brother freed when Pragya asks for my help. Tanu says but you will not help her directly. Gaurav says I will agree when she fulfills my dreams. Tanu says another lover of Pragya. Gaurav says business and says I want to do a business which will give me much money for years. Aliyah asks why Pragya will give you a business. Gaurav says I have the proof which can prove him innocent. Gaurav tells Aliyah and Tanu that he wants such a business which will give him a huge sum of money which took years to count. Gaurav says Pragya will give me this business. Aliyah asks why Pragya will give you this business. Gaurav says I have the proofs which proves Abhi's innocence and says Pragya will do the deal with me and I will get my wishes fulfilled. I won't let anything happen to your brother. Tanu says Pragya becomes Devi for Abhi and she will not beg in front of you. She will take out her other hands like Maldoga and she will kill you like a Rakash and she will snatch Abhi from you. Gaurav says this evil mind will prove costly for her. The lawyer informs Pragya that the bail application is rejected as the prosecution lawyer gave reasons that if he is bailed out, then they can threaten the family members of the deceased persons or can buy the contractor to change his statement. He says else you can send your husband far from India being so rich. The lawyer says that the judge rejected the bail plea hearing this. Pragya says why will we do this? He says everyone does this. Pragya says I will not do this and I trust the law and its procedures. The lawyer says that the law works on proofs. 6 people are dead and the media would hype such case. Pragya thinks of Gaurav's words. She goes from there. Abhi thinks of Pragya's words. A song plays in the background. Pragya comes to Abhi. She asks when you went to meet the contractor if Gaurav was there. Abhi says no, he was not there. Pragya says I am trying to inquire. Abhi asks if Gaurav is behind this. Pragya blames herself. Abhi says he must have done this as I had beaten him. He asks her not to blame herself. Pragya tells him that Gaurav called and offered for help. Abhi says no need to take his help. I am getting bailed. Pragya says the bail was rejected. She says she will not only take him out, but she would also bring out the truth in front of everyone. Abhi asks her to listen and says you said that you are feeling bad to see me here. You got this feeling after a long time. He says even I have felt something and I miss such a feeling and says I am liking to see you with me and I know that someone is standing with me. He says I might not take the name but I have some connection with her and I have many complaints too. He asks her to go. She says, I will return soon. He asks her not to cry. Pragya goes. Gaurav hears the doorbell and says, suddenly, I became important for everyone. He opens the door and finds Pragya. He says he got lucky and thought that she will come to meet him in the morning herself. Pragya says she wants to know the truth and asks why he has done this. Gaurav says what is important for you is to get your husband out and not how to get me jailed. He says why Tanu and Aliyah haven't understand that your life is stuck in Abhi's life. He says you know well that I can save him and also knows that the bail is rejected. He says you wanted to roam, being Sati Savitri. Pragya asks how he can help him. Gaurav says I have proof that he is innocent and he shall give the price. She asks what do you want? He says Marcus Company's 100% shares, all the factories of the East Delhi and also your event business. Pragya says you will get it, but what is the proofs? He says I have the recording in which Abhi was telling clearly to the contractor that he doesn't want him to break the east side wall as he doesn't want to put everyone's life in danger. He says he wanted to renovate all the office so that everyone stays safe. Pragya says, so this is done by you. He says you have solved the mystery and asks when I am getting my amount. Pragya says now you have to pay for it. He aims gun at her and snatches her phone. He deletes the recording. Pragya says she will prove his lies and walks away from there. Gaurav says you have to return to me and he shall give me whatever I am asking. He says you shall return to me. I am getting angry. Pragya goes to the contractor's home. The contractor gets tensed and opens the door. Pragya asks the contractor how much he is paid for his life. The contractor says I don't know who is Gaurav. Pragya asks him to tell the truth in court and says 6 people are dead. She says Gaurav has admitted the truth. The contractor says why shall I tell that I am guilty? Pragya says he will get punishment and asks him to name the money on his children as it will be useful for them when he goes to jail. Rambro asks Pallavi about Vikram. Pallavi says he had food early. She says she shall go to Teji's house and bring grandma back after 2 to 4 days. She is helping her in the decoration. Rhea comes there and sits on the dining table. Pallavi asks where is Prachi. Rhea says she must be with Siddharth. If he is in the office, then she is in the office. If he is in the curtain or the studying room, then she will be there. Pallavi says I heard that she is doing some project with Siddharth. She doesn't do housework. At least she does some office work. She says she is good in it. Rhea asks who said this. Pallavi says Vikram said this. She is efficient in the office work. She says she doesn't like typical office-going women, but good at it, and you look like office-going woman, but efficient in housework. Rhea gets upset. Pallavi asks Rambro to come with him as she has to do some paperwork of foundation. Aliyah is walking up and down in the house. Tanu asks if she is thinking about marrying Gaurav. Aliyah asks what is good about him. She asks if you are fine. Tanu says Disha and Purab got separated due to you. She says you have done bad and you are calling him bad. She says Abhi loves grandma a lot. She says whatever you have done is for your selfish reasons. Aliyah says I always love my brother and Rhea. I can do anything for them. Tanu says you are bad for Prachi. Aliyah says I never accepted her. She says Gaurav will not give proofs as Pragya will never give him whatever he demands and Sushma would refuse her. Tanu says Pragya loves Abhi a lot. Aliyah says even I love Purab, but I will not give hard-earned money to anyone for him. She says Gaurav called and said that Pragya refused. Rhea thinks of Pallavi's words and gets tensed. Thank you for watching. Please like my video, share it, and please subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.